Good morning. And Fernando Pena is first. Joe Paddock, what's going on, man? I think you guys are the only two here so far, at least the only two that have spoke up. Give it all a minute. I started a few minutes early, just figured to give people a chance to get the notification and get here. So we won't dive into anything just yet. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. It is. It's still, hot outside, but you can definitely feel that fall is approaching. You know what I mean? You can feel it in the air. It's a different feel. First, third person. As long as you're not talking about yourself in the third person. I Yeah, well, here in Tennessee, like I said, it's not fall yet, but you can feel the difference in you can feel the difference in the positioning of the sun and in the amount of humidity in the air. It's approaching. Oh, that's awesome. Scott, Hack Money Monkey, what's going on, man? How are things in KC? Understand, I saw the weather report this morning, the nationwide weather. They said that you guys are running about 7 degrees cooler than average uh, today. Yep, kids are back in school. My son's on his third week already. Well, it's 8 o'clock, so everybody knows that we're doing this at 8. So they should be, whoever's going to be here to see the beginning should be here by now. So I'll go ahead and start talking about my plans for today. There are two things that I really I need to learn in Blender, and I don't know how to do them yet. So I'm going to be using this computer over here to pull up tutorials and whatnot on these two things, and I will be attempting it live on the stream this morning for the first time myself, and hopefully we'll learn how to do it together. So I'll learn how to do it, and then I'll show you me learning how to do it, and then you guys will know how to do it as well. And the two things that I'm desperately wanting to learn is adding text to an object, because I really need to do that so that I can finally sit down and get a maker coin made for red light, because I need to do that, and I need to be able to add text to do that. And then the other thing that I really need to learn and want to learn is displacement maps. Good morning, John Mack. And what a displacement map is you take a black and white image and you apply it as a displacement map to an object, and what it does is it will add texture to the object. Because I have plans to make a building system, and I want to be able to have good looking brick textures and things like that on the walls. So I'm going to attempt both of those things for the first time today. I've never done them. I'm going to attempt them for the first time today, and we'll learn together. So so yeah, the process is not something that I'm familiar with, and we'll see how it goes. So without further ado, get Blender opened up over here. Should have had that opened up already. Pop the chat out and move it right there so I can see it. And let's go to the screen share. All right. So here we have that all too familiar new file in Blender. It's just a cube sitting in the middle of a grid. Get my chat back on top here. So all right. Let's see about adding text. Oh, before I get any further. See, y'all are supposed to remind me to turn on screencast. That's in the text editor. Open. It's on my desktop. Run the script. Go back to 3D view. And now I should have, when I press N, I should have start display. There we go. Alright, our little mouse is showing up there. When I push keys, it's showing what keys. Alright, so there we go. We got screencast started. So now when I push keys, you guys will see what I'm pushing. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled up my tutorial for adding text. So we'll see. We'll follow along. We'll follow it, and we'll do it. It says first thing I do is Shift A. Select text. Tab. Tab key enters and exits edit mode for selected object. All right. Just looking at the line shading. Okay. Also check the properties panel on the right of the screen. Changing font would be a good idea. Oh, well, we're in the text editor. Okay, so let's get back out of this real quick so we can drag it up here where we can see it. We're going to go in a top-down view by pressing number pad 7. 5 will get us the orthoscopic view. Alright, so forget he uses a 1 instead of an L, right? I think that's his. Oh, there he is. It's a 1 instead of the I. Okay. L1 GHT 34. So red light, you get to be the guinea pig, man. I need to remind you to remind me. Okay, I'll work on that. I'll work on that. I will. Okay, so edit the text. Property panel, changing font would be a good idea. Okay. I also want to make the center there we go. Centered it. And I'm just going to delete the cube right now. We can add another one later, so that we're only working with the text. Tab into edit mode. Where do we change the font? It says changing the font would be a good idea, but it doesn't tell me where. See, this is the process I go through with learning stuff. You know, I'm figuring it out as I go, and that's why I'm saying Blender's not that hard. As far as, you know, if you don't know how to do something, somebody else knows how and is shown you at some point, or you know, has it out there on the internet to show you, and so that's what I'm doing. You know, but you guys get to see it firsthand while I figure it out. No? Text icon, mouse icon, oh, that's down there. Huh. Well, let's Google that real quick. Set my drink over here out of the way before I knock it over on my keyboard. Blender, change font. Text object. See, somebody else has asked this question at some point. Change the font using the text object under the object data properties panel. There we go. Okay. The F. That's the F they're talking about right there. Okay. Go down to font. Here you can specify different fonts for standard, bold, italics, and various other type setting parameters. In order to find fonts easily, okay, yeah, I know where that's at. Yeah, they don't make changing fonts as painless as I would like to see it, because I don't like the Blender font. I seen that shown. I seen that, and I just saw that a few minutes before I started the stream. Morning trolling for dollars. I think Red Light's already home. He was back in his crane yesterday. Huh, okay. Let me show you horizontal and vertical. Load new font from file. Okay. So fonts are under Windows, fonts, and let's see, we want see, Arial is a sans serif font. We don't want that. We want a serif font so that we get the little thing sticking out on the one. So let's try Times. There we go. Okay, Times New Roman. I don't have very many fonts loaded on this machine. My other computer, I had thousands of fonts because I used to do a lot of graphic design stuff, and in that I had added a bunch of custom fonts, but I do not have them added to this. So we're going to tab out of that, and we're going to move the center point back to the center of the text, and we're going to put it about in the middle there-ish. Okay, so did you guys see how to do that? You just click over here, and because it's a regular type, we went over here and we added a new font by clicking the little folder here, and then you go to the Windows Fonts folder and choose your any true type font. Will work. Well, I mean, I started off, I'd learned 3D modeling on 3D Studio Max years ago, and ended up in Blender because Blender is open source and free instead of costing me hundreds of dollars a month. All right, so now we're going to convert it. We edited the text. We got the text we want. We need to convert it now to a mesh. So it says to press Alt-C, Alt-C, and choose Mesh from Curve. All right, so now it should be a mesh. But it says that after you do that, you are going to have duplicated vertices. When you convert text to a mesh, results are non-manifold mesh. Removing doubles fixes this. So I'll show you where to do that. Is over here in Tools, tab, select it all, and we go down here, look for Remove Doubles. You click that, and apparently it didn't have any doubles. Maybe that's something in an older version, and they've since fixed that issue. Add crease settings to get a nice sharp lettering later in the process. So still with the text mesh in edit mode with all vertices selected, add a crease. Well, we talked about creases once before. Creases, you hold down Shift and you hit E, and you drag your mouse out, and that creates creases. You see how the letters went, the lines and the letters went pink. And what a crease does is anything we apply to it later, it'll make sure that those edges stay sharp. All right, so now I wonder, can we just is it just one layer? Looks like it is. Okay. Just select it all. See if we can do this. Extrude along the Z. So there, we've created a Nice raised text. So now if we wanted to add that to an object, go back over to create. Just gonna make a plane. Scale the plane out. I'm going to scale it down along the Y. Extrude it up a bit. Now we're going to bring it down so that it touches. All right, so now we're going to use a Boolean operator. Now we added bool tools to Blender back in the Blender Basics video. So you select both objects, go to Tools. We're going to scroll down until we get to Bool Tools. We want to add a Boolean, and now the different things we can do a union, and that turns it into one object with raised letters. Let's undo that. We can do a difference, and that will carve out where it intersects. And since we didn't push it in that deep, it's not. But I think we want to go with union. So see, Red Light could take this right here, as quick and easy as that was to make, and he could put it on a machine and do a color swap at a certain layer height, and he could print himself a nice little sign that says Red Light in 2 colors. Just do his color swap once it gets done with the top layers of the, make himself a little plaque. Well, right. Yeah, we can do all that stuff too. Good morning, Chris Riley. So yeah, I didn't know how to add text, but now I do, and it's not too terribly hard. That didn't take near as much time in this video this morning as I thought it would. Maybe displacement maps are going to be harder and take more time. Because those are the 2 things that I really wanted to learn today is adding text to an object. So now we see how to do that. So you add the text object, you change in edit mode, you change what the text says, and then in then you can change the font, and then you can you convert it to a mesh, and then at that point you can extrude it, and then you can use it to carve into stuff or do a Boolean operator and make it pop out from the object. Good morning, Robbie Mack. So I'm sorry if I'm not keeping as close eye on chat as I'm reading the tutorial over here, looking at Blender over here, and then chat is right here. Glad to have you with us this morning, Chris. I don't know if he's still here. Hack Monkey was here as well. So KC is well represented, and I'm repping KC from Tennessee. All right, so we've learned how to do that. That's not hard. I can do that. So now let's we can do it in the same thing. We're going to go here, move that down. Let's add a new object. Let's go create. All right, so displacement maps is the other thing that I wanted to talk about today. So we're gonna move on to displacement maps because we know how to do text now. And so what I'm learning right now is I'm learning the basics that I will want to be able to use in the process of designing a couple different things. The text I needed for several reasons, but the biggest is I will make a red light maker coin now that I know how to do it. That was one of the biggest things holding me back, was being able to do text in Blender. Because everybody's like, well, just make it here and then drag it over to Tinkercad, and Tinkercad's easy to do text. And from what I've seen people do videos on, Tinkercad is easy to do text. But I'm like, I'm working in Blender and I need to learn how to do it here. And I know Blender can do it because Blender pretty much can do anything that they want to. I've seen upcoming Blender 2.8 is even going to their grease pencil tool. You will be able to do 2D animation, so it's going to be able to be basically like a cartoon studio. Also, once 2.8 comes out, which is kind of exciting. Yeah, yeah, I know of you, of course, and Hack Monkey and Colin Makes Stuff and Joe Mike Terranella, if that's the four you're referring to. There are 60 in the meetup group. See, I've got to find more people here in Tennessee, in the Middle Tennessee area, Clarksville, Nashville area, because I haven't found anybody. I think the closest person to me that I know of is probably Slug Prince. He's up in Kentucky, and then Mad Mike and Ashley are down in Alabama. I need to get out of the basement once in a while. You do it during the daylight. There's that sun thing. Sun, you know, tend to become like a vampire dwelling in the basement all the time, man. Everyone's busy watching their printers. Yeah, nobody's out and about. No, they're hovered over their printers, waiting for the next nozzle jam. Moved to, yeah. There's a whole bunch of people in Indiana. It's crazy. Um, there's a whole bunch of people in Florida too, but as Walter always points out, Florida's a really big state. Just because they're in Florida doesn't mean they're close together. It burns. It burns. Chris Riley will walk out of his basement and out into the sun. He'll look like that Vampire in Brooklyn movie when Eddie Murphy's character walks into the church. He's impersonating the preacher. His head starts smoking. Yeah, I've had a few people accuse me of being a vampire as well. Mostly people I've known for a very long time, and they haven't aged as well as I have. I've been very 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 fortunate, but I think the same thing that cursed me in my teenage years has blessed me in my middle ages. Um, I have very oily skin, and so when I was a teenager, that meant lots of acne problems and things like that. But now that I'm a middle-aged man, very oily skin has led to very few, if any, real wrinkles at this point in my life. So I had it rough in my teenage years, and now it's my turn to reap the benefit of that. All right, so let's see here. Let's add a plane. Displacement maps. On to the next topic. Displacement maps are the next thing that I need to learn. So, because I want to make a building system to make bases, buildings, things like that, to replace what I used to spend hours upon hours carving out of foam board. And I've showed it on camera before. I used to take foam board that you get like Dollar Tree, and you soak it in water, and you can peel the paper off of the foam on one side. And then I would take a straight edge and a mechanical pencil, and I would carve bricks and stuff like that into it, and make the details that way. And then I would paint it up and put it together and make buildings that way. And now that I've got 3D printing, there's no reason to do that. I should be able to design a building system that I just print out wall sections and floors and things like that. And then I need to create an interlocking system to snap them together, which will take some engineering on my part that I haven't quite figured out yet. But I'll get there. But one of the hurdles I will face is making realistic textures on the walls so that the buildings look good when once printed out and put together, painted up. They will look, realistic scale buildings. So one of the ways to add texture to an object, but also bake that texture into the mesh, is a displacement modifier. And a displacement modifier, you take a black and white image, it's a displacement map, and you apply it to your object, and it will add the white areas of the image will be raised, the dark areas of the image will be recessed, and it allows you to add texture. So we are going to use the displace modifier. And I downloaded a brick texture last night in preparation for this. And you can do a Google search, Google image search for displacement map, and you will come up with any texture you could imagine. There's also a website that I have not signed up for yet, but you can download lower res displacement maps, tileable displacement maps. And tileable means you can multiply them over numerous times and they are seamlessly stitched together. Good morning, Don. Yes, exactly, Robbie Mac. So this will be something that'll be really handy for Robbie, especially being a graphic artist. He can custom make his own. And I can too. I mean, but Robbie is a far more talented graphic artist than I ever thought about being. Even though I did do it professionally, I'm nowhere near Robbie Mac's level. So we're going to try to make this plane right here look like a brick wall. Let's get started. All right, I think need to start right here. Image. We're going to open the image, and I saved it on my desktop. Brick display. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to go here. We're going to add displacement modifier. All right, so the problem with the displacement modifier is it needs geometry to map itself to. So this surface is only one surface, so all you're doing is just moving that one surface up and down. It doesn't have any, it needs multiple faces for it to raise and lower. So we're going to also have to apply a subdivision surface modifier. So we're going to go into subdivision surface. Wait, not yet. Because I also need to just like my edges here, I'm going to put a crease on those because I want it to stay square. All right. Now we're going to add a subdivision surface modifier. Let's crank it up to about 4. Let's see where that gets us. All right. So now we've got our texture, which I forget. It's a okay. It's a hierarchy thing, and I forget which one has to be on top. Okay, looks like the because modifiers in Blender are they're until applied they are non-destructive, but they are also a they are put in a hierarchy, and you can move them up and down the hierarchy by clicking these up and down arrows. So here the subdivision surface modifier is on top of the displacement modifier right now, and as you can see, it starting to do some stuff. All right, the strength is obviously too much. There. Mapping. Repeat it a couple times along the X and the Y. Then let's see. Displacement maps in Blender. That's not what I want right now. Let's see. Is that it? I apologize for the video being kind of a slow-moving process, but I'm literally learning how to do this as I go. I said let's get started, and you heard the Maker's Muse theme in your head. Yeah. Only I didn't say it with a really cool accent. A really cool Australian accent. All right, so we subdivided our mesh. What am I doing wrong here? Because I'm doing something wrong. Unless Nope, rendering it still doesn't come out either. Okay. So displace. And we added that texture. I'm doing something wrong and I haven't figured out what it is yet. Oh, I think I needed to subdivide it before I added the subdivision surface. Maybe that's my problem. Hold on. Or I need to crank up the subdivision surface. It's not subdivided enough. Yeah, I needed to do a regular subdivide before I did it, but you can see it's starting to do the thing we want it to do. All right, so I didn't mean to do that. I just accidentally moved the 3D cursor because I right-clicked. But you can always move it back right there. Okay. Oh, wait. Subdivide. Number of cuts, 30. Uh-oh. My machine can't handle that many subdivisions. John's not here. Good morning, John. Whoa, there we go. Okay, so now I know what I did wrong. So as you can see now, we got a nice brick texture. We don't need to do that many subdivision on the modifier here, so I'm going to crank that down a little bit because that's a little too memory intensive. Yeah, there we go. 4 looks better. All right. Looky there. All right, so I'm going to repeat this process because this is harder than I thought. So if we repeat it once or twice here, maybe we'll get the hang of it. So I'm going to delete this plane. Delete it. Add a new one. Scale it up a little bit. Go into edit mode. Hit W. Go to subdivide. You need to add about 30 cuts. So then we go here. Wait. Don't want it as a brush. Maybe because I haven't. add the modifier first. Okay, so we're going to add a displace modifier. So we added this displace modifier. So now we go over here, image we want to open. I saved it on my desktop, the brick displacement. I'm going to open it. Back over here, and we're going to add a subdivision surface modifier. Then we're going to go down to the strength here because that's too strong. Move that on top of that one. And now we're going to crank it up a little bit. Last time we saw about 4 gave us what we want. So there we have our brick texture. There we go. It's repeating stuff. That's what makes it easier. So we're going to repeat it one more time again. And now you see the bricks are really big here. Where you're going to go in to fix that is you would go over here. You would go down to image mapping. And this is why you want a tileable texture. Because if your texture wasn't a tileable texture, it wouldn't be seamless when you crank that number up. And now if we go to render and render it, oh, it doesn't like rendering. There it goes. You can see we have a realistic brick texture from a plane. Morning, Vince. And see, this is the reason I like blenders, because you can do so many different things with Blender. I mean, I don't know if, like, Fusion 360 is great for functional models and whatnot, but I don't think you can do anything like this. At least if you can, I've never seen anyone do it. So we went from a flat plane to a brick wall with a few clicks of a button. Mr. Butcher likes blenders because they make good smoothies. Not that kind of blender. Not that kind of blender, dude. No. And our strength is still a bit strong on that. So we're going to go back over to the modifier, and we're going to decrease the strength to 0.5. Still a bit deep. Let's go 0.3. 0.03. There we go. Looks better. So yeah, then we can take and use this to, using Boolean objects, and use it to stamp out that shape in our object, or to skin the top of our object. So this should allow me, whenever I get to the point of making the the walls, the building tiles, I can take this tileable texture and apply it to the top of the wall design that I make, and then when it's all done and printed out, it will print out a brick wall texture, and then we'll put it together and paint it up to look like a brick building. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. At least that's the hope. Later, trolling for dollars. Good morning, Mike Whaley. So what do you say? Let's repeat this one more time. Let's see if the third time makes it quicker and smoother. Delete the plane. Add a plane. Scale it up a little bit. Go into edit mode. Hit W. Subdivide. I'm going to subdivide. Give it 30 cuts. And you can play with that number up or down, depending. But just remember, your displacement map has to have enough geometry to do its thing. Add a displacement map, or displacement modifier, displace. And we will click here. And we will go here. That's our texture. Open. Desktop. Open our brick. And so we said that the strength looked best at like 0.03. And now we add another modifier. We add the subdivision surface modifier. Move it up in the hierarchy so that the subdivision surface modifier needs to be on top of the displacement modifier. And there we go. We have a brick texture. And then again, if you want to tile it more to decrease the size of the bricks, you can crank it up to like 3. And that'll just increase or decrease the size of your bricks, because what that is doing is it's taking the map, the brick map that we brought in, and it's repeating it that number of times across the X and the Y. So right now it's the map is 2 by 2 on the map we brought in, and you'll have to make those adjustments based upon whatever map you use. But so a displacement map, let me go here, and we want our edge to stay square, so I am going to go into edge select mode, holding down Alt, click on that edge, and then holding down Shift and Alt, click on that edge, Shift and Alt, click on that edge, and Shift and Alt, click on that edge. Shift E to make the edge. Now we tab back out of edit mode. We've gone back to having sharp corners here because the subdivision surface modifier had smoothed those out and rounded them out. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to make sure it stayed square. So now if I go back to the modifiers over here. Now remember I said Blender is its modifiers are non-destructive. So at any point in time we could get rid of them and we're back to our original object, totally non-destructive, until they are applied. Once they are applied, you're stuck with them. So once you're sure that's what you want, you would apply the modifiers. And now when you tab back into edit mode, because I applied those modifiers, see all the vertices created there? It's a lot. Later, Sean. So we learned how to add text today. We learned how to do a displacement modifier. Both of the things are going to come in handy when designing stuff. You know, because we can do something fun and interesting like taking. You know, and you could have Red Light's name in the middle of a brick wall. So what do you guys think? You think you got a handle on displacement modifiers and adding text? And if not, you can go back and watch the beginning of this video again. Those were the two things we set out to learn today, and we've done that in less than an hour. You don't know how to do something, you can always find somebody who's done it and has put up a tutorial. And so I was reading along with the tutorial, and then I wanted to show you guys in a video, as I read along the tutorial, the process of learning how to do something for the very first time. I've never done either one of these things in Blender anyway. I used to do them all the time in 3D Studio Max. Yeah, thinking of something to make is sometimes the hardest part about it. So I am going to go ahead and save this file on the desktop. We're just going to call it today's date. We're just 8.21.18 and save it. Because I may come back and play around with this a little bit, but that's, you know, that's cool. So like Robbie Mack being a graphic artist, he can sit down and make his own black and white images and use them as a displacement map. Cool. Which I think even if using like grayscale, like gradients and stuff like that, I think more or less that's what those those lithophane programs out there are doing. Is more or less they are taking and turning your photo into a displacement map and applying it to an object. So you could use that same process and create your own custom stuff. Yeah, and so as you saw, Robbie, it's now. I mean, now that I applied it, it's the mesh. That's why there's so many tons of vertices in this. So don't be surprised with that many vertices and stuff if the file size isn't a bit large. Because I mean, we zoom in. But it's cool when you stop and see, you know, you zoom in and you see that this map even has some texture to the bricks themselves. I bet he could, and I don't know what he's doing. I would like to pick his brain sometime to see how he is converting his stuff, if he's using a displacement map or what he's doing. Hey Chris, here's an idea for something for you to design. We need a you know, there's a Joel bot out there. We need a Chris Riley bot. Complete with a kung fu action ponytail. Design it so that the head is on a spring, and you could twist it up, and then when you let it go, it spin around and whip that ponytail around. That'd be cool. Yeah, you could like spring load the head so that you wind it up, and then when you let it go, the head would spin around and whip that ponytail around. That'd be the Chris Riley bot superpower. Yeah, that's a good point, Scott. The lynda.com stuff, they've got videos for like every program out there, and some great tutorials for it too. Um, I know I've I spent a little bit of time with them when I was learning 3D Studio Max, watching some of their stuff and learning how to do it. I like bringing it to you guys in this platform though, because it's an interactive platform doing the live stream, and you know, if you guys have questions or something, I can try and answer them, and if I don't know, I can try and find it, figure it out, and show you. I don't know, Chris. I don't think I think the hardest thing about it would be the spring mechanism. You know, designing the Chris Riley bot itself wouldn't be that hard, I don't think. You just have to get the spring mechanism so that when you wind it up, could look at like those the how the mechanisms inside like one of those Beyblade launchers when they wind those things up. Yeah, Chris Riley bot first, spring action ponytail whip second. But yeah, it'd be cool to watch it spinning around. But yeah, look at like how they wind up those Beyblades or something, and try to copy that mechanism. So yeah, once the modifier is applied, you can see that you've got, you know, lots and lots of vertices and edges and all sorts of stuff. So I, you know, I was just spitballing, but you know, we got to. There's a Joel bot. There's an articulated Joel bot now, and you know, Joel's great, but you know, Chris Riley is great too, and there should be a Chris Riley bot. I think so. I really do. And so you could start off with the basic Chris Riley bot first, just like we started off with the basic, you know, high fiving Joel bot. And then they moved into there's now, you know, an articulated Joel bot, and somebody made an animated 3D model of Joel bot that like dances. I forget who did that, but you know, we start with the Chris Riley bot. Start, you know, scribbling that out on paper. Yeah, you could do the ponytail where it was an articulated thing, um, like the dreads, and like the legs on the that big octopus that everyone, a lot of people have printed, and then you somehow spring load the head so that when you wind it up, and then when you let it go, it whip that ponytail around. And then we could do it'd be like printing out a Joel bot and a Chris Riley bot, and they could battle. And my money's on the Chris Riley bot with the whipping ponytail. All right, so in an hour, we've accomplished the two things we set out to do in this, which was learn how to put text on an object and to learn displacement maps. I even repeated the displacement map process 3 times because the first time took me a long time and I wasn't really good at it. But by the third time, it was pretty quick and painless. And so that's going to be the secret with anything for you guys, as you're sitting down to do stuff, just repeat the process until it doesn't require a great deal of thought, and then it should be, more second nature. Right? Yeah. I'm yeah. The whipping ponytail totally beats the high five power, I think, in battle anyway. Yeah. It's a higher combat power move. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, man. So yeah, I mean, I set out today. I sat down in this chair, and I didn't know how to do either one of these things when I sat down. But between a Google search and just trying it, just giving it a try, we're here, and that's why I thought it'd be cool to do it on video with you guys, because I was like, my first thought was, I'll learn how to do this, and then I'll show you. And then I thought, no, even better, I'm going to show you that if you don't know how to do something, it's out there already. So I'm going to show you that I can learn something, and then I can show you all at the same time. And it's not that big of a deal. So don't let it intimidate you not knowing how to do something. That was, I guess, the biggest lesson in this. Which, since we are just over an hour into this, I guess I need to more often say, if you're not subscribed and you like the content, subscribe below. Ring the bell to be notified. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday, but not next week. Next week I will be unavailable, because I am going to Texas to meet my sister for the first time. And those not caught up on that story, I don't know my biological mother, and I've been searching for her my whole life. I did an Ancestry.com DNA test. I had a close familial match on my maternal side. I reached out to her. She contacted me back and told me that she's my half sister Amanda. And so I found out at 41 years of age that I have a sister. I didn't know I had. And we've been conversing on the phone, on Facebook, and all that stuff. And we're super excited to have a chance to meet each other. So I can't wait to fly down to Texas 1 week from today. I'm flying down to Texas. I should be off the plane by this time, because my flight leaves at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's like a 2-hour flight. So I should be off the plane around this time, probably at the rental car counter about this time next week, and get down there to Waxahachie, Texas, and give my little sister a long overdue hug from her big brother. And Don, don't take offense to this. I'm not going to show that comment. Use your channel to promote your channel, man. You got the X-Wing done? Cool. Thomas Elrod, good morning, sir. Well, you missed the first hour of the video where we learned how to put text on stuff, and we learned about displacement maps, which are both really cool things. I look forward to seeing what Robbie Mack comes up with now that he knows how to do this. I think Robbie could do some really cool stuff, being the graphic artist master that he is. Thank you, Chris. Like I said, it's my goal was not only to teach you guys how to do it while I was learning how to do it, but was to show you that if there's something you don't know how to do, don't let it intimidate you. That's a great idea, Robbie. this process would absolutely make making dungeon tiles, I won't say trivial, but much easier, because you're not sitting down trying to model it in. If you can make a black and white, grayscale image and just displace it and then apply it to the mesh, done deal. See, there you go, Joe. So adding texture to stuff, a lot of 3D modeling programs and stuff, when you're talking about texture mapping and whatnot, is just stuff that shows up in the render. But applying a displacement map, once you apply it, it applies it to the mesh. Now it also makes your mesh really complex thing. So I mean, depending upon the complexity of your displacement map, it may make your image, your mesh rather, a rather large file, and it could make it a little harder to slice and all that. But those are things you'll have to play with. Thank you, Don. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, thumbs up if you like what you learned today. You like what you saw today. We still got an hour to go though, and I've covered the things I wanted to cover already. I thought this would take me longer. I really did, because I knew I was going to be learning and then having to try to show you. But it seems like we've done all that really quickly. So I guess I could show you guys, progress on some other stuff. That let's open. I've got the Jeep design to the point where I'm ready to print it for the first time, and that will happen sooner than later now, thanks to Robbie Mack. Robbie Mack is hooking me up, helping me out with a printer that'll be large enough to print this stuff. That's a good point, Mr. Buttram. I could work on that. You're right. Let's do that. Let's open. And it is under accessories. Yeah, accessories, containers, dumpster. Forget if it was dumpster or dumpster 2. There we go. All right. So one of the things that we've learned is the dumpster needs some help. Dumpster is not a happy dumpster. And so a big part of me designing this stuff and finding problems is design iteration. So that's what we're going to do right now then. Thanks to Mr. Buttram giving us the idea to do that today. Okay. So I was talking to Mr. Buttram, who printed out the dumpster and had some issues with it. And the issue was the hinge is breaking off inside, or breaking off whenever you try to break loose the supports. So I'm going to try to separate this into 2 pieces, but make the hinge still be a print-in-place hinge. And you print the dumpster body, and then you print the lid, and then plug the lid into the dumpster body, but also have a functioning hinge that is easier to print. So I think the first thing I need to do, I need to grab these pieces here. Let's do it by face. And you know what I need to turn back on? Yeah, happy dumpster. Well, best yet, the best garbage company name I've ever seen so far is the one that I have here in Clarksville. Um, the company that picks up my trash, the name of the company is Stinky Pinky, and they have pink garbage trucks. I kid you not. It's the funniest thing ever. Okay, so we forgot screencast, so you guys can see what I'm doing. So we go into the text editor, and this script is readily available online. Just do a search for screencast keys Blender if you ever need this, because then you just download this file right here, the Space View 3D screencast keys. You open it in the text editor, run script, go back to 3D view, and then when you hit in, you can go down screencast keys. So now we've got that. Okay, so the dumpster. We selected everything that's part of the dumpster part of the hinge. I am going to duplicate that by hitting Shift D. I'm going to hit Z to slide it up only on the Z axis. And then I'm going to hit P to separate it by selection. And we're going to go back to this view, wireframe mode. Grab all the same stuff we just duplicated, and we're going to delete it. Delete the faces. Gone. And we're going to go out of this. We're going to hide the lids for now. So yeah, Stinky Pinky. My garbage can is sitting out by the road right now. Big pink label on it that says Stinky Pinky, and a pink garbage truck will come pick it up later. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into edge select mode, select that edge and that edge, make a face, because we need to make the dumpster manifold again. Now that we've separated out that piece. And there may be easier ways to do some of the stuff that I'm doing right now. A guy like Joe Larson probably knows 100 better ways to do what I'm doing right now, because Joe is a Blender expert. I am not. I am showing you guys that even somebody that's still figuring things out can design stuff. A piece of filament that threads through the holes. I don't know if that would be. I guess that could be doable. There definitely have to be some glue involved. All right, so we've made the dumpster manifold again. Oh yeah, I'm subject to squirrel moments just like Walter. Let's add that to version 5 or 6. Yeah, we're on version 3. So I wonder, extrude that up a little bit, maybe. And then we scale that in along the y-axis. Then we scale them in. No, let's leave them that way. Let's extrude. I'll make some pegs for those to sit for the things to sit down on. Well, hopefully all of my designs get better with age. That's the plan, is iterate version to version until we get all the bugs worked out. Let's move this down right now. So we want it to sit down like that. Let's tab into there. So we also need to narrow those out a little bit. Scale them in on the X. Just kind of eyeballing things here. Scale it in along the X. John's still not here, but I'm glad John is here, still not here. Scale it in along the X. So we should be able to turn those into mounting points to mount that piece on. And so we're going to do that by, we're going to duplicate the dumpster body. We're going to hide the original for right now. Select that. And just in case I mess this up, I'm also going to duplicate and hide an extra copy of that. That's another thing. If you're getting ready to do a Boolean operators sometimes mess things up, and sometimes you can't undo them. So before you do your Boolean operator, sometimes it's handy to go ahead and make a extra copy of your part. That way, if you mess it up, you can delete the part that's messed up. And, you know, if you mess it up and it can't be undone, you can delete the part that's messed up, and then you've still got the original before you did the Boolean operator, just hidden. I think that might have been Stinky Pinky. Yes, Stinky Pinky. All right, so select the dumpster body first. We'll select the hinge piece second. Then we go to Tools. We go down to Bool Tools, and we are going to do a difference. That should have. It does not. Maybe it did. Yeah, it did. Okay. Should have carved that out. But it did not. And see, that's what I'm talking about. I can't undo that. So that messed things up. So we're going to delete it. And we're going to go over here and find where we hid our other two. Hide the lids again. And we're going to duplicate them again. Shift D to duplicate, H to hide it, Shift D to duplicate, Enter, H to hide it. And I know why. Let's hide. This is cube 3, remember that. I'm going to hide that. Why it didn't do anything is because I forgot to make this part manifold after I did what I did to it. We're going to make faces all the way across here. Because it didn't have a face on the bottom and it wasn't a manifold part to carve into, so it had nothing to carve when we went to. Because I forgot. I'm going to unhide that. Select that. Tab back out. Select the dumpster body first, hinge piece second, and then we are going to go to difference. Now we should have a carved out bottom piece, and we do. And now we're going to go to the 3D printing tool, or check all, 3D printing toolbox. We're not going to worry about intersect faces and that kind of stuff. That's, again, non-manifold edge is the only thing we're really worried about. I'm not going to worry myself with the rest. Let's bring back the dumpster body that we copied and hid. Hold on, let me see what that is. That's that. That's the one before we, yeah. I don't need that anymore. Okay. Dumpster. We've iterated that piece, so now that will be a. Now we need to make the lids have less contact with that bar. Or maybe make a pin. Passes through that. I don't know. Let's try it this way first. Let's bring the lids back. Let's modify them. Actually, let's get rid of all of these. But now I want to keep it's on the back edge of the lid here. We don't want to delete the vertices up in the lid. All right. We're good. So we're going to delete those vertices. And I'm going to edge select. Oops, not face select, edge select. Select that ring. And extrude it out along, we'll lock it to the x-axis. A sticker from Ben at Hawk 3D Proto. Very cool. All right. Now we're going to see if Blender is going to be nice to me today. I'm going to select those two rings there. Oh, it's not going to be nice to me doing that for sure. Okay, hold on. I need to fix the bottom edge of the door first. The lid. What did I just... Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Ryan, is if we, it should still have strong connection here and here, but way less support to break out of there, which should make it more likely to succeed. Well, no, I think you'll also be able to print the lids flat down now. Like this side down. I think. Now let's see, will it bridge? Bridge. I don't know if that's okay. It looks like that was maybe. It might work. Give it a try. No, this is this whole bar and the lids are now a separate piece that peg onto the top of the dumpster. So they'll print as a separate piece laying flat down like this. Then you take them off the build plate, break the support loose on the hinge, and then peg these onto the pegs on top of the dumpster. Yeah, that's what I had. The internal machinations of my mind are a mystery even to me, but that's what I had in mind when you told me what was going on. Which I think. Ah. Didn't want those faces there. Those faces. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess, but I think it'll work. Let's grab it from this side. Not that one. There we go. Extrude. We need to lock it to the X. Even with that. Right, yeah, that should work. You won't have as solid a connection as somebody printing it brand new because you won't have the little tabs sticking up here off the dumpster to glue it onto. Unless you just save a little material when you shave that off. So you'll want to go in and cut that off. And then try to shave it down and leave yourself a little peg so that you'll have a surface to line that up and glue it onto. So it might be a little bit challenging modifying yours, but not impossible. No, crap that. There we go. Not that one. All right. And see if it will bridge for me again. It's messy like the other one, but I think it'll work. I do. All right, so that's the lid we modified. We haven't modified the other one yet. We're going to just copy it, or not copy it, delete it. We're going to delete this one. And then we need to, let's get our 3D cursor back in the middle where it belongs. So go here to 3D cursor and zero it out. That'll return the 3D cursor where it belongs. Tab out, Control Alt Shift C, origin to 3D cursor. And now when I go up here to modifier, add modifier, mirror. We don't want to merge. No, that's not what we wanted. I don't want to have to redo the whole thing. Maybe I can just mirror. Can I mirror it without making a copy? Seems like that messed some stuff up. It did. Good morning, Mike. And while Tuesdays are normally a day off for me, it is not a day off for me today. I'm playing the Robertson County Fair tonight. I don't know how long the fair lasts. I just know I'm playing it tonight. All right, so what do you think, Ryan? You think that'll work better? All right, so we're going to file, save as, dumpster 3. And now I'm going to take select those 3 pieces right there. You can print it tonight and give it a go. Cool. So I will copy that. Save it again. Go new. Delete that. Cube. Paste. Select everything. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Okay. There we go. Where did he put it? Why did it put it all the way over there? Yeah. Subversion to geometry. Now rotate it again 180 degrees. Where did it move it this time? Bless it. Undo that. because I was grabbing the camera and the light too. That's why it kept rotating it all wonky out of the place. I don't need to rotate that stuff. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about, Ryan. I think you'll be able to print it like that. So we will file. I don't even know if I might need to merge those into one item before I. Let's go tools. It might, because it might make a problem for it. So union. Union. Yeah, I think so. Well, it looks like we might have an issue right there. It looks like that's torn. Oh yeah, we got a problem. Okay. But not where I thought we would have a problem. What is that? What happens if I just delete that? Make new faces here. Oh, there's faces there. They just, for some reason, the normals are inverted. Yeah, there's. Flip normals. So yeah, you should just have a little bit of support along here that you might have to grab with needle nose pliers and break out of there. But that should. Now let's check all. Oh, now we have 16 non-manifold edges. What is going on? Big face there. Two non-manifold edges. Let's just delete that. Just delete that. I don't know what, I think when I did that, when I tried to copy that and duplicate it over and mirror it, it messed some stuff up. All right, we don't have any non-manifold edges now. Whatever for, okay. Not on that part. Now I'll check this one. That one's good. Check this one. All right, that one's good. All right, so we'll go here, tools, Boolean, union. And we'll union that. There we go. Then we'll go to 3D printing tool, and we will check all. Okay. You can live with that other stuff. Now we will export STL. And we'll put it on the desktop. Scale 1000. Behind the screen. Hello. I've never seen you in here before. So we'll export that STL. What did we export that as? I wasn't even paying attention. I just exported it as untitled. Are you kidding me? Okay. I'm out of it this morning. dumpster underscore lid. Export. And we'll open the dumpster version 3. We'll copy this one. New file. Paste it in. We will go to the tab in that printing toolbox. We will check all. Non-manifold edge is 0. We're good there. File, export, STL, desktop. Dumpster V3. Forgot to say V3 on that other one. Naughty. I can fix that later. 1000. Export. So we got dumpster lid, dumpster underscore V3 lid. And then we'll go here. Go to Thingiverse. Sign in. All right, we'll drag that over there. Put my chat back on top so I can see it again. Cool, man. Well, I'm glad you're here. Right now I'm iterating the design on. I just finished iterating the design on a dumpster, a 1/18 scale dumpster that I had uploaded to Thingiverse, and for 3D printing. So we are a 3D printing and design community. So yeah, man, if you do make models for games and stuff, it wouldn't be much different making models for 3D print if you've never done that, and it'd be cool. We always need more designers, and so we welcome you wholeheartedly to the stream this morning, and hope you will enjoy what you're seeing, and hopefully, you know, maybe decide to design some stuff with us and make some stuff that then you will see 3D printed out and plastic physical objects of the things that you design. It's the coolest feeling in the world, it really is. And I do these streams every Tuesday and Thursday morning from 8 o'clock Central to 10 o'clock normally. We might run a little over today because I'm going to go ahead and go through editing this thing. Edit thing. I told you I'm not with it this morning. I'm a musician for a living, and I got home late last night, so and had to get up early to get my son off to school. So let's see here. Let's the desktop. We want dumpster version 3 body, and we want dumpster version 3 lid. And we want to delete dumpster version 2 because it's no good. Save and view. I got my first 3D printer just last April, so I mean I'm only 4 months into 3D printing myself. Um, I went to school for um, game design, and there I learned to model in 3D Studio Max, but 3D Studio Max did not, the version I had did not want to work well with my computer now, so I ended up using downloading Blender, and Blender is open source, and I started modeling stuff and putting it up on Thingiverse. Some of the folks in the 3D printing community, I was interested in 3D printing, encouraged me to go ahead and make the models available on Thingiverse for people and to beta test. Mr. Chris Riley was the one that gave me that final nudge to said, you know, the community will be your beta tester. Just put it up there, man. And so I did, and yeah, you know, Thingiverse has been it's been cool. People downloading stuff and printing it out, and Mr. Buttram, who's in the chat here, printed out my dumpster, and it had some issues with the functional hinge, the attempt to print in place functional hinge, and so I'm going back and iterating the design. The first iteration of the dumpster had lids that you just clipped onto the bar there, and that's what I printed out right here, and it doesn't hold great, but it works for diorama purposes, which is all I really had designed this for. But somebody else printed it out and ripped it apart for the lids not being fully functional. So I sat down to try to do that, and that was the version that Ryan, Mr. Buttram, printed out, and it didn't work out so well for him. So we iterated the design again today. Okay, I guess dumpster body version 3. Okay, now it's showing up. Good morning, Ben. Well, the only thing with in order to 3D model something that is 3D model something that is 3D printable, the design has to be manifold. Something that's not necessary in gaming, but the design has to be manifold, which means the design has to be capable of, like, holding water, for instance. So you can't have any one-walled pieces. Everything has to have, you know, a top and a bottom and sides and be a solid object. So it has to have, but I'm sure Unity can do that. I mean, I've never used Unity, but I wouldn't see why it couldn't. And I got into I got interested in 3D printing because I'm a toy collector, a G.I. Joe collector, and I've always wanted to design my own toys. So that's kind of what got me started in doing that. And so yeah, everything I design is 1/18 scale stuff for G.I. Joes. As you can see, my dumpster here, I can, you know, I can put a G.I. Joe inside it. But that's, yeah, that hinge does not hold on my first design of the dumpster, but that's the one I printed out. And if this version 3 works out, I'll print it out and use it too, and then just kind of use this one as a background diorama piece. But yeah, so as I was saying, nothing like for a game model, you wouldn't actually have to, as just a background piece, have any kind of interior. You could just model out the dumpster, and it could be hollow inside completely. This you have to actually add, you know, thickness to the dumpster walls so that they. But I mean, other than that, yeah, man, I'm sure Unity is capable of that. And see, Mr. Buttram's found another use for my dumpster. Well, version 3 will hopefully be better. Well, it remains to be seen. So I would test it at intended scale before I went for the gusto, because if it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to iterate the design again. I wouldn't waste a whole bunch of plastic on something that didn't turn out to work. Because if it doesn't work, the lids are going to be where the problem is. So unless you want a lidless dumpster. But no, so version 3 is up on Thingiverse now, is live. You should be able to download it and give it a try if you want. Yeah, man, beta testing my designs is great, and I will iterate. I think I've tried to prove that I will iterate my designs when there's a problem, which leads me to another thing that I'll have to iterate today. Roy Holly has been helping me with beta testing my truck design, and I've got to make some adjustments to the doors on it. But yeah, behind the screen, if you're still there, show you, this is my latest vehicle design that I will start printing out here very soon. I think it's ready for me to start the beta testing on my end, the closed beta, if you will. So yeah, this is a 1/18 scale little Army Jeep, military Jeep, GI Joe vehicle. And all of my vehicle designs, I'm trying to make them modular so that they can be customizable, so that you can print different parts and create something totally, unique to you just by choosing which parts you want to print out. And as an example of that, I was messing around with it, and here's a custom one. It's got a different hood piece that you print additionally and add on the top. It's got a removable hardtop roof with a hinged opening back deck, a lift kit, and bigger tires. When I got the design pretty much done, I started playing a little bit, and that's what I've got there. So, um, if that all works out, then people will be able to go, well, I want the standard suspension height, or I want the lifted suspension height. So then they would just print the different tires and the different axle clips, depending upon which suspension height they want. And then if they wanted to add this piece, of this print it out and glue it down to the top of the hood. This just clips on to the roll bar. Incoming next is a 4-door version of the design. So I will stretch the body and add a second set of doors. The doors have print in place functional, or hopefully functional. That's one of the first things I'll have to prototype and test. Print in place hinges, which I think I may have to add a little taper to the edge of the door, not the outer edge, the inner edge of the door. because that's what problem Roy Holly's running into with the truck is the door when you go to open it is bumping into the fender as you open it. And so I think if I taper the inner slope of the door, it'll allow that to swing open freely. So I'm going to make that modification to the truck, and I will make that modification to the Jeep before I attempt to print it. And I have a printer on the way. It should be here tomorrow by close of business tomorrow. That will finally be big enough to print the Jeep, and as it's intended to be printed without slicing it up into a bunch of pieces, I can print the big pieces like this. This is the biggest piece of the Jeep right here, is the floor pan. And the floor pan will not fit on my ANET A8. So yeah, the lifted version of the Jeep, you slide the axle parts out just a little bit and print bigger tires, and it's the same wheels, it's the same everything else, but you got a lift kit. UPS gave you the old heart attack today, huh? I'm sorry, sir. We seem to have misplaced the package. Like, sorry, sir. It fell off at the sorting facility and tumbled down 3 flights of stairs. Oh, I keyed. So yeah, Blender is a very powerful and fun program, and it's open source. It's free. Um, Blender 2.8 is really exciting because it's even got some 2D animation tools. The grease pencil tool is going to be able to be used for 2D animation, so people will be able to start making cartoons and 2D cartoons, like hand-drawn cartoons, which would be cool. Well, thank you, Hawk. I appreciate that, man. I really do. Um, you know, I don't think I don't think what I do is all that special, but I was like, I'll share it with people. Maybe they can learn something. And today we learned at the beginning of the video, we learned how to add text to objects. We learned how to use displacement maps to modify your mesh so that we should be able to be making 3D printable raised textures and cool stuff like that, and adding them to the mesh just by adding a displacement map, displacement modifier. Well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, um, I think 2.8 is still in alpha. It's not even in beta yet. I think they're on alpha version 2, last I saw. Because there's a lot of big changes coming in 2.8. There's a new render engine, which is going to be a huge deal for guys who are rendering for games and rendering for animation. That renderer is going to be a game changer. Oh, and so people that are doing film and games, that renderer is total game changer. It won't really mean much to me because I don't even need to render the stuff that I'm doing, because it's just designing a model and then exporting the STL to print. But yeah, Hawk, everything everything is modular. Like this, these lights, they clip onto this front clip, and the front clip, you can pull it out of the bumper. So when you print it, you're printing the bumper as a separate piece from this, and you're printing the lights as a separate piece from that, and you can connect them all together. The doors are print in place hinges, which I'm not done with the hinged back thing yet. That's why it's still multiple pieces. The roof rack, the lights, hide those. You know, you can print 4 of those little individual lights and clip them onto the roll bar. So this would look exactly like that the other Jeep with the exception of lift kit. So if you decided you wanted the lifted version, you would just print larger tires, and you would print these drop axles that drop the wheel down farther to accommodate those larger tires. All right, man. Well, like I said, it's still, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could print in this and not print right. So it could be a waste of some plastic with some iteration incoming afterwards. And I'm excited about the filament that I got sent to print this with. That was so graciously donated to the cause. Olive drab. So I will be able to print the body, and looking at it side by side, it almost perfectly matches the and it on its wheels. Almost perfectly matches the spray paint that I was using to spray paint some of my customs and stuff as well. So it is almost exactly the same color. It's so perfect. It's unbelievably perfect. So I'm excited to and I hope it prints well, because I've never heard of this filament brand, C. Gaydon. I've never heard of the filament brand, so we'll see how it does. And I will, and it's obviously a Chinese filament because it's got Chinese on the label there. But yeah, C. Gaydon. Never heard of the brand, and this was a gift, and I'm very, very thankful for it. We'll see how it works, and I will do a review on it, because they have other colors and stuff up on Amazon. It was not a cheap filament, so I'm hoping it does well. It wasn't like expensive. We're not like in like Protopasta or Filamentum territory or anything, but it's $23 a roll. $23 a kilogram. Mr. Buttram is the man. Because we were talking about finding the right olive drab color filament one day, and I found this, and I was like, yeah, that's perfect. And Mr. Buttram said, I want to send you a roll of that. So he sent me a roll. I'm excited to use it. I will be using that when I get to print out the body panels, when I get the larger printer in that's coming in tomorrow. And red light. So I will be printing the body panels very soon, and I plan to use this filament, and hopefully it comes out good. And I will review the quality that I get from this filament, and let you guys know on video and on Twitter and all that. I'm hoping it works out well, because the color is spot on. The color is absolutely perfect. Because you would never unbox it. Oh God. Okay. You guys are killing me, man. You really are. So yeah, we've ran, we've ran 15 minutes past time today, but we did a lot today. We learned how to put text on objects, how to both engraving the text or having raised text. We learned displacement maps and how to do those and add it using a black and white image to add depth to your object, and then have it be baked into the mesh so that it'll be a 3D printable thing. So and then we iterated the dumpster design that Mr. Buttram had printed out and pointed out a problem in, and hopefully we solved that issue as well. And we'll find out in the very near future as the things as it gets downloaded on Thingiverse and printed out by somebody. Mr. Buttram said he's going to try printing it tonight. Is that going to be a personal extrusion there, Mr. Buttram? You going to extrude it yourself? It's nice to meet you behind the screen. Thank you so much for stopping in. And like I said, we do this every Tuesday and Thursday morning, except for next week. I will not be doing it next week because I'm going to visit my sister, meet my sister really, for the first time down in Texas. And my flight leaves on Tuesday morning, and I won't come back until Thursday morning. So I will unfortunately not be home and at my computer to do this on the 28th or the 30th. But I'll get right back to it the following week. And I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out, and I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me. Really, the community has been overwhelmingly supportive of me and where I'm concerned, and I can't even grasp that. It's amazing to me. So yeah, and so the days that I don't stream on the weekdays, Mike Wiley's 3D, he does a 3D printing repair and upgrade Hangout video. Normally every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 o'clock Central to 9 o'clock Central in the morning. That's 8 to 10 for you East Coast folks. So hang out with Mike on those days, and yeah, if he's going to pick up my slack next week, he'll have to do Tuesday and Thursday also. But appreciate you guys as always. You guys are wonderful. If you're not subscribed, subscribe below. Ring the bell to get notified whenever I go live, because all I do is live streams, y'all. Maybe I'll get into editing videos at some point, but all I do is live streams. So get notified when I go live, and I expect to go live soon with putting back together a printer that I'm getting tomorrow. I may not be able to go live do that tomorrow. It may have to wait, but maybe that's what we're doing Thursday morning instead of modeling. But yeah. Thank you guys again so much. I can't wait to get some stuff, some more stuff made and out there and shared with you guys, and see. And I can't wait to see you guys start designing some of your own stuff. You guys that don't do designs, download Blender. It's free. Follow my Blender Basics video. That's the first one that I would recommend you go back and watch. The morning that we did, I think it was episode 5. I think I got to commit that to memory. I believe it was episode 5. Watch the Blender Basics video. It goes through setting up, so that you're left clicking instead of right clicking to select stuff, because that's going to make things a lot easier for you. That's the number one thing that's a pain in the butt for most people in Blender, is that for some reason you select with right click instead of left click. But I show you how to switch that. I show you the essential tools you are going to need to use Blender for 3D modeling, for 3D printing. Those being the 3D printing toolbox, measure it, and bool tools. You're going to need those. Those are essential. Um, and then I just show you some basic moves. So, go back, watch episode 5, learn the basics, and with those basic moves, I show you anybody can design something. And then we're going to, continue to learn little things like we did today with the, adding text and using displacement maps. And eventually you'll have all the skills and tools necessary to build anything. All you need then is the imagination to come up with the thing that you want to make. So I appreciate you guys. Smash the thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe if you're not. And we'll see you Thursday morning. And instead of modeling, we might be putting together a printer. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. I'll go hang out over in the Country Club Discord for a while and chat with you guys after this. And yeah, we'll see you there. Thanks all. Bye.